The theater world thrives on drama, but rarely does the drama spill so vividly off the stage. In the days leading up to his highly anticipated performance in Macbeth, Sam Heughan, best known to millions as Jamie Fraser from Outlander, found himself at the center of an unexpected storm. Reports began to circulate that the actor, usually celebrated for his composure and calm demeanor, had been seen visibly upset, even described as furious, just hours before rehearsals. For fans and critics alike, the headline felt shocking. What could possibly have pushed the Scottish star to his breaking point right before one of the most important theatrical roles of his career? The whispers began backstage at the historic theatre where Macbeth was set to open. Sources described tension building during technical rehearsals, with Sam appearing unusually intense, pacing the wings of the stage, and snapping at minor mishaps. A misplaced prop, a missed lighting cue, things that would normally be brushed aside, reportedly drew sharp reactions from him. For an actor stepping into the role of Shakespeare's tortured king, such intensity might not have been entirely unexpected. But for Sam, whose public image has long been one of charm and warmth, the cracks in his composure immediately raised alarms. By the next morning, tabloids had already seized on the story. Headlines blared, "Sam Heughan loses his cool before Macbeth debut," and "Outlander star furious behind the curtain." Social media erupted, with fans divided between concern and curiosity. Some expressed genuine worry, fearing that the emotional strain might affect his performance. Others speculated that the reports had been exaggerated, perhaps even part of a calculated publicity stunt designed to draw attention to the production. The truth, however, seemed more complicated. Friends close to the actor suggested that the fury came not from arrogance, but from pressure. Taking on Macbeth is no small feat. The role demands a combination of raw emotional energy, psychological complexity, and precise command of Shakespearean verse. For any actor, it is a career-defining challenge. For Sam, stepping away from the comfort zone of a global television phenomenon into the unforgiving world of live theater, the weight of expectation was immense. "He wants it to be perfect," one insider reportedly said. "He's putting everything on the line with this performance." That sense of everything on the line resonated strongly with fans who have followed his career. Since Outlander catapulted him into international stardom, Sam has been searching for roles that prove his range and depth beyond the romantic Highland warrior that made him famous. Macbeth, with its descent into madness and moral corruption, offered the chance to showcase another side of his artistry. Yet with opportunity comes fear, and, apparently, flashes of frustration. Audiences who adore him for his easy smile and playful interviews were startled to imagine him in such a furious state. But those closer to the theater world were less surprised. "Actors live on adrenaline," one critic noted. "If Sam Heughan is furious, it's probably because he's carrying the entire play on his shoulders. That kind of weight can break a person, or elevate them." Still, the timing of the reports was unsettling. To hear that Sam was visibly angry, just days before stepping into Macbeth's tortured crown, led some to wonder if the play itself had seeped into his spirit. Shakespeare's tragedy is notorious for demanding everything from its lead: sleepless rehearsals, unrelenting intensity, and the emotional toll of embodying one of literature's darkest figures. Could it be that Sam's own fury was not a loss of control, but rather the cost of diving headfirst into the role? Fans, of course, clung to hope. Online forums lit up with comments like, "If Sam's furious, it means he's giving it his all. This Macbeth is going to be unforgettable." Others, more skeptical, voiced concern that the pressure might derail his debut. After all, live theater leaves no room for second takes. One mistake, one slip of focus, and the performance could unravel before an audience eager to scrutinize every move. As the debate raged on, one question loomed larger than any other. What exactly triggered Sam's outburst? Was it creative disagreements behind the scenes, personal stress carried into rehearsals, or simply the intensity of living inside Macbeth's tortured mind? The answers remained unclear, but what was certain was that the image of Sam Heughan, furious, pacing, demanding perfection, had already captured the public imagination. And as the curtain prepared to rise on opening night, the tension only grew. Would his fury spill onto the stage in destructive ways, or would it fuel a performance so electrifying it silenced every critic in the room? The only certainty was that the world would be watching. When the curtain finally rose on Sam Heughan's Macbeth, audiences quickly realized that the reports of his fury were only part of a much larger story. Behind the headlines of anger and frustration lay the immense pressure of stepping into one of Shakespeare's most iconic and demanding roles, a challenge that has tested some of the greatest actors in history. In the days that followed the furious reports, sources closer to the production offered new context. The so-called outburst, they explained, came after a grueling 12-hour rehearsal filled with technical issues. A faulty sound system had disrupted multiple scenes, stage cues were misfired, and the overall rehearsal schedule had fallen drastically behind. Sam, known for his meticulous preparation, had pushed himself to the edge, unwilling to accept anything less than perfection. "He's not angry at people," one crew member clarified. "He's angry because he cares so much. He wants to deliver the best Macbeth possible." This explanation painted a different picture from the sensational headlines. Rather than a star unraveling, Sam appeared as an artist consumed by the weight of his role. Shakespeare's Macbeth is not merely a character to memorize, it is an abyss to inhabit. The Scottish king's descent into paranoia, ambition, and madness demands an actor who can surrender entirely to the darkness of the role. For Sam, who had spent years embodying Jamie Fraser's heroism in Outlander, the psychological shift was seismic. He had to strip away his familiar charm and dig into something rawer, uglier, and more fragile. Yet, it was precisely this fury, this restless drive, that seemed to fuel his performance. When he stepped onto the stage on opening night, critics were struck not by a man cracking under pressure but by an actor channeling every ounce of that fire into his portrayal. His Macbeth was fierce, haunted, and unrelentingly human. Each line carried the weight of a man torn apart by ambition, and every gesture burned with the urgency of someone who had lived the chaos he was performing. "It's not just a performance," one reviewer wrote. "It's an eruption." Fans who had worried the furious rumors would overshadow his debut were stunned to find that the opposite had occurred. The energy of that anger, the intensity of those behind-the-scenes moments, became part of what made his Macbeth unforgettable. Audience members described sitting at the edge of their seats, unable to look away as Sam delivered soliloquies with a rawness that felt almost dangerous. One fan tweeted, "If fury looks like this on stage, give us more of it." He was terrifying, heartbreaking, and brilliant. Of course, not everyone saw it through such a sympathetic lens. Some critics argued that the reports revealed a fragility beneath Sam's polished image, questioning whether he was truly suited for the grueling demands of Shakespearean theatre. Others accused the production of leaning into the scandal, allowing the furious headlines to become a marketing tool that drew more attention than the play itself. But even these critiques acknowledged the undeniable magnetism of his performance. Love it or criticize it, Sam Heughan's Macbeth was impossible to ignore. For Sam himself, the experience seemed transformative. In a post-performance interview, he addressed the controversy with honesty. "Yes, I was frustrated," he admitted. "But only because I care. This role is monumental, and I didn't want to walk out on stage giving anything less than my all." His words resonated with both fans and fellow actors, many of whom praised his candor. It was a reminder that even stars with global fame are, at their core, artists vulnerable to fear, pressure, and the weight of expectation. More than anything, the incident highlighted the paradox of performance. Fury, when channeled recklessly, can fracture a production. But fury, when harnessed, can become fuel for brilliance. For Sam Heughan, it seemed to be the latter. His anger became not a weakness, but the very energy that powered his Macbeth to life. And perhaps that is the lesson audiences walked away with. Behind the glamour of Hollywood and the adoration of television stardom lies the raw, beating heart of an actor willing to risk everything for the stage. The reports of fury may have sparked scandal, but the reality revealed something much deeper. A man confronting the demons of ambition not only as Macbeth, but as Sam Heughan himself. As the curtain fell and the applause thundered through the theatre, one thing became clear. What began as a controversy had ended as a triumph. Whether furious or fearless, Sam Heughan had delivered a Macbeth that no one would soon forget.